Hello, I hope you're doing fine. Welcome back to the Wee Larder channel. Today we're going to be making a delicious wartime cake. Now this recipe, like my other recipe, the chicken loaf, is actually from Elizabeth Craig's Wartime Cookbook, one of my favourite cookbooks, and it is such a treasure in my kitchen. I did pay quite a bit for this cookbook, but it has loads of handwritten recipes still in it. I've tried to keep this recipe as close to the original as possible, so we're going to be making a wartime dripping cake. Dripping's not an ingredient that we use that often these days, but it is really good in this recipe, and I've never made a dripping cake before in my life until now, but everybody enjoyed it. It did have a slightly different taste, but it was really nice. So let me know how you get on with yours and if you're brave enough to give it a try. If you're a member over on Patreon, you can pick up your recipe card for this recipe over there. If you're not, do feel free to pop over and see what that's all about. There's lots of goodies on there. I also add my seasonal cooking guides on my membership as well. So print your card or print your recipe card, download it to your phone, and let's get started on this lovely, delicious wartime dripping cake. So for this lovely wartime dripping cake, we're going to need these ingredients here. So you want to make a note of those. So to get started, we're going to add all of our flour through the sieve into a large mixing bowl. We're just going to add our salt in there as well, and our baking powder. You could use self-raising flour if you wanted to, but if you want to kind of stick to the original recipe, then I would just go with the flour and the baking powder. So we're going to add in our spices there as well, and our sultanas, and our mixed peel. And we're just going to give those a good stir through. So we're going to stir all of that together. So we're going to add our dripping and sugar into a jug here. So the dripping is almost like completely melted. I just put this jug into a pan of hot water and just melted it up a little bit. You can melt it completely if you want to. It might be a little bit easier. So what we're doing is we're just creaming the sugar and the butter together until it's nice and smooth. We're then going to add an egg in there as well. We're just going to beat that through. You can use an electric mixer if you want to as well, if you want to give it a good beating. So we're just going to make sure that's nice and creamy, and we're then going to be adding that back into our mixing bowl with our dried mixture rather. So we're just adding that back into our mixing bowl with all of our dried ingredients there. If you've completely melted your dripping, it might be a little bit runnier than this. That's okay, don't worry. You're just going to be mixing it all into the flour anyway. So this recipe is so simple, as a lot of wartime recipes are. If you're not using a fresh egg, you can use a dried egg, which might be more appropriate to the wartime recipe. The recipe in the book said to use a normal egg, but I thought I would add in the option to use dried egg in as well. So I've added in some milk there. We're just adding in approximately 100 mils, I think I said in the ingredients list. So you might need a little more, a little less. We're just looking for a nice cake batter consistency, like a droppable cake batter consistency. So we're just going to mix that through until we get something like this, and just keep adding in enough milk until you get a nice creamy cake batter like so. And our oven is preheated at 160, by the way, and we have greased up a cake tin as well. So we're going to pop that all into our cake tin there. I've also put a little bit of grease-proof paper in as well, because I do find it easier just to get the cake out once it is out of the oven. So we're going to be baking that in the oven for approximately an hour.
and you just want to check that it is nice and smooth before you pop it into the oven as well. So it's quite a thick batter. And when you take the cake out after the hour, you want to pop a cake pin through and just make sure that it's not sticky when it comes out of the cake. I usually like to leave my cake to cool a little as well when I take it out of the oven, just so that it comes out of the cake tin a little bit easier, and I always find there's less chance of it breaking as well. While our cake is cooking in the oven, actually, I just want to show you this delicious clouty dumpling that I'm making in the background. This is actually a mini clouty dumpling, and it's for my kids winter seasonal guide, and it's actually a chocolate chip clouty dumpling. So it's a real child friendly recipe, and it's actually a recipe that they can make very easily themselves as well. I love making a clouty dumpling. It's a really nice recipe for getting your hands stuck in. I just thought it would be a really nice recipe for the wee ones to make as well, because there's a lot of kneading and squeezing of the dough, and then you get to put it into the clout and tie it up and stuff. And obviously the adults have to put it into the boiling water and that, but yeah, it's a really nice kid-friendly recipe, and you'll get that in my kids seasonal cooking guide over on my website, or if you're a member over on Patreon, it is also included in your membership over there in the Wee Cook membership. If you want to find out more about the Wee Cook, actually I'll put a link down below. So this clouty dumpling was so delicious. So this is about 1/3 of the size of a normal sized clouty dumpling. Clouty dumplings are massive, and they seem to last forever. This recipe was so good though, and it was really, really nice with custard. So many kids don't like raisins and sultanas and stuff, so I just thought making a chocolate chip version would just be perfect for the wee ones, and of course most kids like chocolate. So so once you've actually cooked your clouty dumpling, you want to dip it into cold water. That's what we were doing there, just so that the cloth comes off nice and easily. And then we usually just pop it back into the oven to dry out. You can also sprinkle a bit of sugar on. Some recipes do that, some recipes don't in the old cookbooks. And once it's dried out a little bit, you can slice into it. Sometimes you don't actually need to pop it into the oven to dry it out. You can air dry it as well, especially if it's really warm in your kitchen. I have found that works too. So it looks like this inside. I think there's actually cocoa powder in this recipe as well. I can't actually remember. But yeah, it's super delicious, and you can get it over my website if you want to give it a try. So this is just a really good way to get kids interested in traditional Scottish cooking, and to try and keep the Scottish recipes alive as well for the younger generations to come. So as I said, that recipe is in the Wee Cook seasonal cooking guide in the winter one, which is not just for winter really, it really is for early spring as well, because it is always cold in Scotland until about April. And then I've even seen snow in May before as well. So here is our lovely dripping cake. It smells amazing. It has a very unique taste. Just obviously you're not using butter, and it tastes different. But it's really, really nice. It's a nice taste. We really enjoyed it. And any leftovers you can use with custard as well, or you can heat it back up in the oven and serve it with some cream. So I hope you enjoyed this delicious recipe.
So I hope you enjoyed making this recipe. I hope it was as delicious as ours turned out, and I hope you enjoyed experimenting using dripping in a sweet recipe as well, which I found really interesting, and my butcher was quite confused when I said I was going to be making a cake with the dripping as well. If you are a member, you can pick up your recipe card over on Patreon. You can print it out or save it to your phone there. And I also have my cookbooks if you want more cooking adventures over on the Wee Larder, and my seasonal cooking guides are over there as well. If you have any questions, please drop me a line below, and if you haven't subscribed and you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a big thumbs up, and if you click the subscribe button and the little bell next to it, I will see you guys again soon. So I think that's it from me. Take care, lots of love, bye bye.